The mystery attackers just paralyzed Bron Breakker on Monday Night Raw, and I am beyond words right now. What started as a coordinated assault on the Vision has turned into an absolute nightmare. Bron Breakker cannot feel or move his legs after 3 masked attackers executed the most heinous, most brutal, most absolutely devastating attack in WWE history. This is no longer about wrestling, about storylines, or about entertainment. This is about a 26-year-old man whose ability to walk has been stolen by cowards in masks. If you're not enraged and heartbroken about what just happened to Bron Breakker, then you didn't witness the moment his life changed forever on live television. This goes beyond anything we've ever seen in wrestling. This is a tragedy. Let me break down the horrifying sequence of events that led to Bron Breakker's paralysis on Monday Night Raw, because every detail is critical. The Vision, Bron Breakker, Chad Gable, and Otis were in the ring when 3 mystery attackers in black masks surrounded them. What happened next was a coordinated assault that systematically took out each member of the faction, but the attack on Bron Breakker was different. It was targeted, it was precise, and it was designed to cause catastrophic spinal damage. After demolishing Chad Gable and Otis, all 3 masked attackers focused exclusively on Bron Breakker. They dragged his body to the corner and propped him up against the turnbuckles in a seated position. And then, in what can only be described as premeditated attempted murder, one of the masked attackers climbed to the top rope while the other 2 held Bron in place. The attacker on the top rope positioned himself and then delivered a double foot stomp directly onto Bron Breakker's neck and upper spine. The sound that echoed through the arena was sickening. You could hear the impact of 200+ pounds crashing down onto Bron's cervical spine. Breakker's body immediately went limp, his head lolled to the side unnaturally, and his legs splayed out in a way that made everyone watching know something was catastrophically wrong. The crowd went from shock to silent in an instant, that eerie quiet when thousands of people realized they just witnessed something terrible. But the masked attackers still weren't finished with their destruction. As Bron's unconscious body slumped forward, they grabbed him and executed what wrestling fans call a burning hammer, a move so dangerous it's been banned from most promotions. They drove Bron's head and neck into the canvas with devastating force, and when his body hit the mat, there was no movement. No selling, no protective instinct, just complete and total stillness that made it clear this was real. The 3 masked attackers finally retreated as security flooded the ring, but the damage was done. Medical personnel rushed to Bron Breakker's side, and what happened next confirmed everyone's worst fears. The lead EMT was trying to get a response from Bron, asking him to move his fingers, move his toes, anything. And according to lip readers analyzing the footage, Bron said the words that will haunt the wrestling world forever: "I can't feel my legs. I can't move them." The arena went into complete panic mode. More medical staff arrived with a backboard and specialized spinal stabilization equipment. They were taking extreme precautions, moving Bron with the kind of care reserved for the most serious spinal injuries. The broadcast went to commercial, but when they returned, the Raw announce team was in tears. Michael Cole's voice was breaking as he said, "This is not part of any storyline. Bron Breakker is experiencing paralysis and is being transported to a trauma center immediately." WWE aired footage of Bron being loaded into an ambulance, and the images are devastating. You could see the terror in Bron's eyes as he lay on the stretcher, unable to move below his waist. His hands were shaking, clearly in shock, and EMTs were frantically checking his vitals while calling ahead to the hospital. The reality of what just happened, that a young man's life has potentially been destroyed, was hitting everyone in real time. Triple H appeared on Raw later in the show looking destroyed emotionally. Hunter's eyes were red, his voice was shaking, and you could tell this wasn't character work, this was real anguish. Triple H said, "What happened to Bron Breakker tonight goes beyond anything acceptable in this business. We are treating this as a criminal matter. Law enforcement is involved. These masked attackers will be identified, arrested, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But right now, all that matters is Bron and his family." The update that came from the hospital just hours after Raw ended has the entire wrestling world in mourning. WWE released a statement saying that Bron Breakker has suffered severe trauma to his cervical and thoracic spine, resulting in complete loss of sensation and movement in his lower extremities. He's scheduled for emergency surgery in the morning to relieve pressure on his spinal cord and stabilize the damaged vertebrae. The prognosis is uncertain. Doctors cannot say if Bron will ever walk again. Let me tell you why this is the darkest moment in modern wrestling history. A 26-year-old man at the absolute peak of his physical abilities has been paralyzed on live television. Bron Breakker's wrestling career is over, that's not even a question anymore. But more tragically, his ability to live a normal life, to walk, to do everyday activities we all take for granted, is now in serious jeopardy. The masked attackers didn't just end a career, they potentially destroyed a life. Scott Steiner's response has been absolutely heartbreaking. Bron's father posted a video from outside the hospital, and you can see he's been crying. Scott said, "My son can't feel his legs right now. The doctors are saying they don't know if he'll walk again. Some cowards in masks did this to him, and I swear on everything I love, when I find out who they are, there won't be enough police in the world to protect them. You didn't just attack my son, you attacked my family." The WWE locker room has been in absolute shock since the attack. Multiple wrestlers have posted emotional tributes to Bron Breakker. CM Punk wrote, "This is the worst thing I've seen in 20+ years in this business. Praying for a miracle for Bron." Roman Reigns posted a photo of himself with Bron with the caption, "This isn't how your story was supposed to go, young UCE. Fight like hell." The outpouring of support shows how beloved Bron was by his peers. But here's what has me absolutely furious: where was WWE security? After the Royal Rumble attack, after the parking garage assault, after all the warnings and threats, how did 3 masked attackers get into the arena, surround the ring, and execute a coordinated assault that paralyzed someone? The security failures are so egregious that WWE should be facing criminal negligence charges. They had a duty to protect their talent and they failed catastrophically. The identity of these masked attackers is now the subject of a criminal investigation. This isn't WWE internal discipline anymore, this is assault with intent to cause great bodily harm. The FBI is reportedly involved because the attackers may have crossed state lines. When these people are caught, they're facing decades in prison. And if Bron's paralysis is permanent, we could be looking at attempted murder charges. Let's talk about the theories regarding who these masked attackers are, because the motivation matters in understanding this heinous act. Theory 1. It's wrestlers who are jealous of Bron's push and wanted to eliminate him permanently. But what wrestler would risk prison and destroying someone's life? Theory 2. It's an outside group with a vendetta against the Steiner family. Theory 3. And this is disturbing. It's someone with mental illness who's fixated on Bron and believes they're saving him from wrestling. But here's the theory that has everyone talking. What if one of the masked attackers is someone we've suspected all along? What if Seth Rollins, or Logan Paul, or someone else who benefited from Bron being eliminated from the Royal Rumble took things way too far? What if this started as a plan to injure Bron enough to take him out of WrestleMania plans, but escalated into something monstrous? The conspiracy theories are dark. The medical reality for Bron Breakker is absolutely terrifying. Spinal cord injuries are among the most serious trauma a human can experience. Even with successful surgery, the recovery process is brutal. Months or years of physical therapy, learning to adapt to new physical limitations, dealing with chronic pain. And there's a very real possibility that Bron Breakker will never walk again, never wrestle again, never live the life he had before Monday Night Raw. The financial implications for Bron and his family are staggering. Medical bills for spinal surgery and rehabilitation can reach millions of dollars. Even with WWE covering costs through their insurance, there will be out-of-pocket expenses, lost income, home modifications if Bron needs wheelchair accessibility. The wrestling community has started a GoFundMe that's already raised over $2 million, but that's just the beginning of what Bron will need. WWE is facing massive legal liability from this attack. If it's proven that WWE's inadequate security allowed this to happen, the Breakker family could sue for tens of millions. WWE knew there was an active threat against Bron, knew the mystery attackers had struck multiple times, and failed to provide adequate protection. The lawsuit could be one of the largest in wrestling history. The emotional trauma on everyone who witnessed this is profound. Wrestlers who saw Bron lying paralyzed in that ring will carry that image forever. Fans who watched it happen on live TV are experiencing vicarious trauma. Children who looked up to Bron Breakker as a hero are confused and scared. The psychological damage extends far beyond just Bron and his immediate family. Here's what needs to happen immediately. First, law enforcement needs to use every resource to identify these masked attackers: facial recognition, gait analysis, voice analysis, everything. Second, WWE needs to shut down all live events until security can be completely overhauled. Third, WWE needs to establish a fund to cover all of Bron's medical and living expenses for life. Fourth, when the attackers are caught, they need to face maximum sentences with no possibility of parole. The wrestling community's response has been beautiful in the midst of this tragedy. Wrestlers from every major promotion have offered to donate to Bron's medical fund. Independent wrestlers are organizing benefit shows with proceeds going to the Breakker family. Fans are creating art, videos, and tributes celebrating Bron's career and praying for his recovery. The unity shows the best of what wrestling can be. But let me address something disgusting. There are people online suggesting this is a work or part of a storyline. Bron Breakker is in a hospital unable to move his legs. He's facing surgery on his spine. Anyone suggesting this is fake is not only wrong, they're morally bankrupt. This is real life with real consequences, and disrespecting Bron's trauma for internet clout is despicable. The future of Monday Night Raw and WWE is uncertain after this tragedy. How do you continue programming when one of your stars has been paralyzed? How do you ask other wrestlers to perform when they don't feel safe? How do you regain audience trust after such a catastrophic security failure? Triple H faces decisions that will define his legacy as WWE's leader. I want your prayers and support for Bron Breakker and the entire Steiner family. Drop your comments sending positive energy. Hit that like button to show support. Subscribe to Ring Rumble 1 with notifications on for updates on Bron's condition after surgery. This isn't about wrestling anymore. This is about a young man fighting for his future. Pray for successful surgery. Pray for recovery. Pray for justice. #pray for Bron. #justice for Breakker.